Would you please give a very warm welcome to Professor Gilliat-Ray.
Thank you very much, Jason. As I look around this lecture theatre today, I see so many friends, colleagues associated with the centre. And I'm so delighted that you've joined us here today for this momentous occasion. And I know that some of you have made a lot of sacrifices to be here, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you so much. It's not often that I'm lost for words. I started drafting some speech notes back in early July, but each time I made a start or I made an edit, I ended up pressing the delete button and starting all over again. When I give a keynote lecture, chair a conference panel, opening the proceedings of a seminar or public event, I can usually follow a well-rehearsed formula. But our event today is entirely different. There is no formula. And this is compounded by the fact that those of you here today come from so many different backgrounds and constituencies. We have civil society, VIPs, and I'm delighted that the Lord Lieutenant of South Glamorgan is with us today. I'm grateful to the Vice-Chancellor for her words just now and to other members of the University Executive Board who are here also attending. Some of my dearest friends in the British Muslim community are here. Relationships, in some cases, that go back over 30 years. We're joined by fellow academics in the arts and humanities and social sciences from within and beyond Cardiff. Some of the centre's alumni are here, and some of the most distinguished colleagues in the field of British Muslim studies. But with an audience comprising such an array of VIPs, stakeholders, funders, alumni, colleagues, and friends, I struggle to pinpoint exactly who I wanted to speak to and what messages I most wanted to communicate in the short time that I have. I could have spent the whole allotted 20 minutes describing and quantifying the many successes of the centre over the last 20 years. Instead, I want to share some stories about our journey and share just a few important highlights. For example, as Professor Wendy said, we established the first massive open online course at Cardiff back in 2014, Muslims in Britain, Changes and Challenges. Over 21,000 learners took that course. 20 years on, we have impressive numbers in relation to our most recent online course developed with colleagues, as Professor Wendy said, from the Cardiff University School of Medicine, a course intended to support better understanding of mental health in Muslim communities. And in fact, we're now at 8,000, over 8,000 learners for that course. Accredited by the Royal College of Psychiatrists, thanks to the work of my colleague Dr. Asma Khan and the crucial involvement of consultant psychiatrist and Islamic scholar Dr. Asim Youssef. Over the last 20 years, over £8 million has been invested in the centre by research councils and philanthropists. And recordings of our events and lectures over the last 18 years have attracted thousands of views on our YouTube channel. We've seen nearly 100 postgraduate students pass through our doors successfully, obtaining MAs and PhDs, focusing on the lived experience of British Muslims. I could go on. These numbers are important, but today I want to tell you some stories. Fortunately, as I cycled round the lanes of Herefordshire, my home county, some ideas evolved about how I might tell these stories. You'll probably be familiar with the words of Maya Angelou, the American memoirist, poet, and civil rights activist, when she said, "People will forget what you said. They'll forget what you did, but they won't forget how you made them feel." So how do I want you to feel? Well, I hope you will feel inspired, appreciated, and above all, enthused for the future. Because while we are here to celebrate 20 years, as far as I'm concerned, we have only just begun. So let's have some stories. I'm going to bring out my first prop. You'll be familiar with the well-known primary school activity called show and tell. Except with nearly 300 of you here today, I'm going to have to do all the showing and telling. Inside this woven basket, I've collected some objects, each of which tell a story about some of the research that we've done at the centre over the last 20 years and the very precious relationships that sit behind these objects. Most of the things are quite personal to me, but they reveal a bigger narrative about the hard work of my colleagues in the centre and the fantastic support of British Muslim communities. So let's see what's inside. Now, before I start, I should say that these aren't in any particular order, chronologically, or in terms of significance. But attached to each of them is a short story about the centre which speaks to its past, its present, but also to its future. So I'm going to begin with chocolate. You heard that correctly, chocolate. And here are the chocolates. I don't know how I managed to resist these chocolates or to keep them successfully hidden for so many years from my 3 children. But you'll see that they carry the logo of the Muslim Council of Wales. Back in 2004, when the idea for the centre was still forming, I knew that if it was going to achieve any kind of success, it would derive from partnership and collaboration with the Muslim community here in Wales. I owe an enormous debt of gratitude to Salim Kidwai and to the Muslim Council of Wales for the unwavering and enormously generous support that's been extended not only to me personally, but also to my staff and my students. Most especially through inviting us to the wonderful annual interfaith dinners where we enjoyed these chocolates. Celine, thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support. Thank you so much. Now, this little bag of goodies, also containing a miraculously uneaten chocolate, was distributed by the Convert Muslim Foundation at some events that we did together earlier this year as part of a research project exploring the contribution of converts to the leadership of Muslim communities in Britain. Behind this collaboration is a relationship I've had with my dear friend Batul Altoma for over 30 years, and I was delighted when that friendship led to formal academic collaboration 3 years ago. In recent decades, the public benefit, the impact, and the dissemination of academic research has become more and more important in higher education. This is rightly so, but it's a principle that's been hardwired into the centre since its inception. So many of our projects and our activities have involved listening to our stakeholders, finding out what their needs and their priorities are, and then working together to see how the research capacity in the centre can make a positive difference in Muslim communities and to broader public understanding of Islam. But going one step further, one of the things also embedded in the centre's identity is its independence. We've sought to work right across the diversity of Muslim organisations and communities in Britain, and with funding bodies from which we are free from any compromising dilemmas. We have forged our own academic programme and stance. We have avoided being blown off course by opportunities or trends that could have placed us in a potentially compromising situation. Anything that might compromise the integrity and the rigour of our scholarship. Because we work in a field where establishing trust built on long-standing relationships of mutual sincerity is absolutely paramount. Now, this might need a little bit of explanation, and I probably shouldn't still have it in my possession. I don't know why this ID pass has become a bit of personal academic treasure, but there we are. It has. It was given to me during some field work that I was doing 15 years ago in relation to Muslim chaplaincy in Britain as part of a project funded by a collaborative research programme between the Economic and Social Research Council and the Arts and Humanities Research Council. Although my expression in the photo perhaps looks a little bit sad, I have to admit that my time in this particular institution and in many other prisons and hospitals around the country in 2010 was one of the most fruitful, interesting and happy times in my academic career. But more than that, the Muslim Chaplaincy Project helped to cement the centre's reputation for research about the work of Muslim religious professionals in the UK. So not only chaplains, but also imams and other Islamic scholarly roles. And I'm immensely proud of the work that my two colleagues, Dr. Riaz Timol and Dr. Haroon Sadat, have been doing on one of our flagship projects in the centre at the moment, which dates back, actually, it first began in 2019. The Understanding British Imams project is on course to make a huge contribution to developing understanding about the work of imams in Britain. Because for the first time, we are gathering robust quantitative and qualitative data about the situation of imams and particularly their employment terms and conditions. And of course, if that work does something to benefit the situation of imams, that ripples out into Muslim communities as well. So if any of my friends here from HM Prison and Probation Service think I should hand this back, well, you'll have to come and see me afterwards. So, this magazine cover takes us back to the opening of the Islam Centre almost 20 years ago, to the day, in this very same lecture theatre with Yusuf Islam, also known as Cat Stevens, as guest of honour. The volunteer sister who helped us on that day and features on the front cover, Saira Akhtar, who I think is with us today, she features here. But this magazine was produced by the Development and Alumni Relations team here at Cardiff University, known internally as DVAR. DVAR's involvement in the centre's launch back then paved the way for the beginning of a long and very important set of internal relationships, as together we have stewarded various philanthropic donations to the centre, most especially from Mr. Yusuf Jamil and latterly with the Jamil Education Foundation. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Jamil family and the Foundation trustees for their extremely generous support over the last 15 years. But also I'd like to extend thanks to colleagues here in Cardiff University from the Development and Alumni Relations team, especially my friend and colleague Eleanor Hewitt, for being so professional and so effective in support of the Centre's work. Now, there will be some people here this afternoon who, like me, will have received one of these lovely notebooks and pens that was distributed a few years ago at the 25th anniversary celebration of the Muslim Council of Britain. The pages are pristine. It's just seemed too nice to use. Those of us who have been around British Muslim communities for a few decades or more will know that organisations have popped up like fireworks, only to burn out again very soon afterwards. But the Muslim Council of Britain, like so many of its 500 plus affiliates, and that includes the Muslim Council of Wales, has stood the test of time. The MCB has championed important causes and projects and has been a source of crucial data of huge value to the academic community. Few of us working in the field of British Muslim studies could do our work without reference to the detailed and rigorous reports the MCB has produced, derived from in-depth analysis of census data. Indeed, the very fact that a question on religion was included for the first time since 2001 was due to the lobbying of the MCB. So on the 20th anniversary of the Islam UK Centre, I want to thank the MCB for its sustained service, not only to British Muslim communities, but to the academic community and to the Islam UK Centre here in Cardiff in particular. Thank you so much. Now, I had a lengthy conversation and debate with my husband about whether to show the next few items coming out of this basket. But I was eventually persuaded that they should be included because they represent not only an individual achievement, but actually the support and the collective effort that is the Islam UK Centre. It's a shared project. So they include this lovely astrolabe from the Muslim News Awards in 2006. My OBE, which doesn't get an airing very often, from 2020. And much more recently, this lovely award from the Hijaz community in July. Although these have been given to me personally over the last 20 years, as far as I'm concerned, they are a reflection of the recognition of the centre as a whole. The support that's been given to the centre by Cardiff University, by academic colleagues from within and outside Cardiff University, and of course by British Muslim communities. Now, I think it's time for a little bit of audience participation, friends. I would like a show of hands if you have ever visited or been a member of our great national conservation charity, the National Trust. Yeah. So, as I thought, a good majority of you here today are familiar with this important charity. You know the drill. You have a nice time, you wander around the house and gardens, you go into the tea room, you have your refreshments, and then you're dispatched out of property via the gift shop, where you're tempted by a range of souvenirs of your visit. Things like calendars, notebooks, and perhaps a tea towel. depicting images of the property. Well, the Islam UK Centre has gone all National Trust. So this tea towel depicts some of the ways that the Muslim community and Islam in Wales is embedded in our history here. And it's a reproduction of a printed map that derives from a project my colleague and the Centre's deputy director, Abdulazim Ahmed, has been working on for the last 3 years about the history of Islam and Muslims in Wales. And I'm so pleased that Kisra Ahmed, the graphic designer of this map, is here with us today. I love it, Kisra. I think it's fantastic. But showing you this tea towel is a bit of a curtain raiser for the later part of our programme, when Abdulazim will be sharing some of the findings from his research. I won't say a bit more about that now. But by taking his work to the National Eisteddfod, the Wales Millennium Centre, by contributing to the new Welsh curriculum in schools, by giving talks at the National Library of Wales and other prominent Welsh civil society organisations, Abdulazim has contributed hugely to Cardiff University's public engagement and civic mission. So well done, Abdulazim. As I bring my storytelling to an end, I'd like to leave you with a few closing remarks. The first is that the achievements of the Centre reflect the generosity of the Jameel Foundation, the committed work of my fantastic colleagues, and the support of so many British Muslim institutions. Well, I really thank you most sincerely. My second, rather broader set of remarks is about the future. I've deliberately put robust succession plans in place so that a new generation of those working in British Muslim studies here in Cardiff can meet a new generation of British Muslim charitable and think tank organisations developing new evidence-based philanthropic and strategic investment plans that can benefit from the kind of rigorous academic research that we do here in Cardiff. We are keen to continue and to extend our relationships in British Muslim civil society so that Muslim organisations can benefit from our research. In other words, we are open for business. A bit closer to home, the Islam UK Centre will be incorporated over the next year or so into a new School of Global Humanities as part of an academic futures strategy. We are looking forward to that development because if the kind of work we do in the Centre isn't directed towards teaching and research to enable greater understanding about the local, national and international communities around us with a view to the flourishing of humanity as a whole, then I don't know what it is. So we really welcome this development. At the moment, our Vice-Chancellor is leading on Cardiff University's new strategic plan, appropriately called Our Future Together. It's very fortunate that the priorities of Cardiff University around culture and community, the creation of thriving and vibrant institutions, and the co-creation of futures dovetail exactly with so many of the same values and aspirations that have been embedded in the Islam UK Centre since its foundation in 2005. The Centre is rooted in the culture, the history and the languages of Wales and draws on over a century of Muslim presence here in the capital city of Cardiff, and yet the Centre's impact goes well beyond Cardiff. Our future truly is together. And so I hope that you'll remain in touch with us after today and recognise the value and the importance of continuing to support the Islam Centre for the next 20 years. Because remember, we have only just begun. Thank you very much.